Doubts of soldiers. In life, many battles are not lost because people are weak. They are lost because people doubt themselves. Fear and doubt can quietly enter the mind and slowly take away courage. Sometimes the biggest enemy is not outside, but inside our own thoughts. This is a story about how belief can change everything. Once upon a time in Japan, a great battle was about to begin. One army was very large, well-trained, and powerful. The other army was much smaller and had far fewer soldiers. Anyone who looked at both sides would easily say that the smaller army had no chance of winning. However, the general of the smaller army was not afraid. He was calm, thoughtful, and confident. He believed that victory does not only depend on numbers, but also on the strength of the mind and the courage of the heart. He trusted his soldiers, and more importantly, he wanted his soldiers to trust themselves. One evening, the general called his lieutenant and gave a clear order. He told him to prepare all the soldiers for battle the next day. The lieutenant followed the order and gathered the soldiers together. He announced that they would attack the enemy soon. The soldiers listened carefully. They respected their general and were ready to follow his command. But deep inside, many of them felt fear. They knew the enemy army was much bigger and stronger. They began to question whether they could really win. Doubt slowly filled their hearts, and their confidence began to weaken. The next morning, the army started their journey toward the battlefield. As they walked, the general carefully observed his soldiers. He could see worry in their faces and hesitation in their steps. He understood that if this doubt continued, they would lose the battle even before it began. After walking for some time, the general decided to stop near a quiet and peaceful shrine. The place was calm, surrounded by nature, and far from the noise of war. He asked all the soldiers to get down and pray. Together they prayed for courage, strength, and victory. The silence of the shrine slowly brought peace to their minds. When the prayer ended, the general stood in front of his army holding a small coin. He spoke in a strong and clear voice so that everyone could hear him. He told them that he would now toss the coin, and the result would decide their destiny. If the coin landed on heads, they would win the battle. If it landed on tails, they would lose. The soldiers watched closely as the general threw the coin high into the air. For a moment, everything was silent. All eyes followed the coin as it spun and finally fell to the ground. When it landed, it showed heads. At that very moment, something changed inside the soldiers. Their fear disappeared and their confidence returned. They felt sure that victory was now certain. They believed that destiny was on their side, and this belief gave them new strength. With renewed energy, they continued their march toward the battlefield. When the battle began, they fought with courage, unity, and determination. They did not hold back and they did not run away. Their strong belief made them fearless. The enemy, surprised by their confidence and power, began to lose control. After a long and hard fight, the smaller army achieved victory. What seemed impossible at first became a reality. The soldiers celebrated, filled with joy and pride. After the battle, the lieutenant went to the general and said that their victory was decided by destiny and that no one could change it. The general smiled gently and showed him the coin. It had heads on both sides. The lieutenant was shocked. The general then explained that it was not destiny that won the battle, but belief. He said that when the soldiers stopped doubting themselves, they became strong enough to win. Their confidence, not luck, had brought them victory. Moral: when you doubt yourself, you weaken your own strength. But when you believe in yourself, you unlock your true power. Confidence and courage can turn even the hardest situation into success.